Hey, John. So Matt, we'll let you kick it off whenever you're ready. I know we're waiting for the session to flip open. Oh my god, that was so cool. One race. Nuts.
All right, welcome everybody to Inside the Majors. We are Q2 for Racing the Americas. We have our wonderful normal cast, at least except for me. I'm just kind of a fill-in guy. Mr. Mike Ouellette is here, and Mr. John King, and we are even joined with Mark Stevenson. Hello, fellas. How are you guys doing?
Doing great. How are you doing, Matt?
Oh, just peachy as ever. Waiting for tomorrow. I'm very itchy to get this race done.
Well, I'm doing good. Why are you itchy to get the race done, man?
I like the front wheel drive cars. I've always been a fan of the front wheel drive racing. The league that I was a part of before I joined the majors, we did the Kias and the TDIs. So this is kind of familiar for me. It's always fun. And a lot of people don't like the front wheel drive cars. But I love the front wheel drive cars. They're a blast of their drive, and they're completely opposite of what you would normally drive in iRacing.
Yeah, totally. Your brain has to be wired backwards.
I know,
Yeah,
I'm weird.
It's really good fun, and I struggled this week. I just couldn't get my act together. But on Friday, I finally found some pace, and and I started to get more comfortable with the car. But yeah, it's been fun to watch.
So I had all of 2 days of practice, not even really that, before qualifying. So I'm pretty happy of where I landed. I'm not sure where you qualified yet, there, Matt. Oh, looks like you're
I
gonna be
was gonna say
like
it was.
13th or something like that, or 12th.
Yeah, it wasn't the most greatest lap in the world, but at least it was a lap. I screwed up on the third lap, and the fourth lap I just kind of threw it in there and prayed that something would happen, and it didn't happen. So, no, I race front wheel drive cars in real life, so this is kind of home for me. I love it feels exactly the same way.
I will say that I'm kicking myself a little bit, though. John King's probably going to be pretty happy that I put myself down to silver for this race because I didn't think I was going to do well. And then I qualified second. So there go points for gold. I think we're all kind of counting single points in Sportsman right now at the top between Kinetic and Forge. So it's going to be interesting to see where this all shakes out at the end of it tomorrow. And that's for Sportsman, obviously.
Yeah, some of the team setups have got messed up over the last week or so. So I'm sure everyone will get affected. We lost Matthias Magnussen yesterday because he was called into work, which was a shame because we would probably have got 1, 2, 3 in the international races if Matthias had been there. So it's strange times at the moment.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Rob Gall out there right now. He's usually pretty good with the times. I think he's about to do a flyer.
Yep, Rod threw down a 48.4, so that's pretty good for so far. Wayne's not too far behind.
His first time lap.
Yeah, no, the world is kind of in a state of chaos right now, so everybody just be safe. And it's nuts out there, so that's pretty much all we can really do is try not to focus on the bad, focus on the good.
Well, that's exactly right, and you know, we were just talking before we went live here, or I know you were probably listening in, but just about the big weekend that iRace is having, and as crazy it is out there, as I mean, unprecedented. I've never seen anything like this, obviously, in my lifetime. You know, the last time they canceled sports at this level was World War II, literally. So it's pretty surreal. But the fact that iRacing is sort of filling a small part of that void is amazing. And yeah, I kind of wanted to talk to you guys on this show and even engage anybody watching. You know, what can we do as a series to leverage that, make things better for people? Obviously, we sent out a survey earlier in the week, but not beyond that. You know, not only just making it better for our members, which is what we definitely want to do. How can we for lack of a better term, and I hate to even say it this way, but to take advantage of the situation?
Multi driver event that blends the pro and sportsman drivers into the same teams, and just do a big freaking race where it doesn't matter what region you're in, what division you're in, we're all in the same race. That would be freaking rad.
Well, that's kind of what our 24-hour races are, is kind of that thing.
Yeah. May as well jump on a little invitational now.
Since Eric Mickey's have been on the competition committee, him and I have been talking about setting up some team races from within the majors, and we're pretty far advanced with how we want to do that, and maybe we need to advance those plans and try and, now that everyone's got is going to end up with a little bit more free time than they had, or a lot of people are going to end up with more free time than they had.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not everybody's going to have free time. There's going to be a lot of people that are working 13, 14, 15, 16 hour shifts now because they are kind of stuck working those shifts. So yeah. Hopefully those.
We've got one guy that works for a pharmaceutical company. He's working 12-hour shifts 7 days a week at the moment.
Yeah,
So
I have
we're
a
receiving online.
my brother works at the local hospital, and his shifts are crazy. He has they have a bug out bag that he has just in case something happens, that he has to have a week's worth of supplies in this bag at all times. It's crazy, and I shout out to all the medical workers and pharmacists and anybody that's still working, because you guys are amazing.
Yep,
And
sure.
grocery store workers too, honestly. Like, this is getting to the point where we get to see who really is needed in society in order for us to keep going. People who work in pharmacies, people who work in grocery stores, farmers who are going to be stuck without like their typical migrant labor because they can't bring anybody in. They're going to be hard up. It's really interesting to see, like, the types of jobs that are actually necessary in a crisis. And who would have thought it's going to be the cashier at Kroger? But I'm very, very, very happy that the people that are on the front lines of retail and healthcare and everywhere else are finally getting the respect that they deserve. So well done. Silence.
No, I think we all just agree with you, Mark.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, there's a lot of companies out there that are hiring because they need it for the overload. There's so much stuff that they have to get done and stocked and prepped that they need more workers. I know my local Walmart is doing less than 24-hour. If you apply, they're doing less than 24-hour interviews so they can get people on the floor. So that's how crazy it is right now.
The grocery store, one of the bigger grocery store chains here in Canada, Superstore, just gave all of their employees a 15% wage increase during everything that we're doing, and they're putting plexiglass enclosures around the cashiers. It's totally unprecedented. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Wow, that's crazy.
I'm really just watching Greg McEnany here. He's my bro. He's trying to get into the top split in Sportsman. We're doing a little coaching just in the session before this, so I'm keeping an eye on him. He's doing a 49.0 right now. I think he needs to go a bit quicker than that if he wants to join us in the top split of the race. Rob Gall, I saw, did a 47.7, which is pretty, like, on the fast end of average here, it seems. A lot of the guys that are in the 47s, they're like mid to late 47s, and then pretty much anybody in the 46s is kind of in alien territory.
Yeah, they're very quick guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I won't
Wayne
mention any of my guys.
you have a couple of quick guys on your team. I saw Peter Vostrel in practice. I was following him a little bit in practice. He was struggling a little bit with rear brakes. It seems maybe he needs to make a little bit of a brake bias adjustment, but maybe he's got it sorted out now. He's doing a 48.609. Rob Powers out there with a 48.7. Schindel with a 49.2. I think he's got a little bit more pace to him available.
Yeah, I'm not sure Mark's got much more. He really hasn't been able to do much practice.
Yeah. Dale Green, 49.2. Chad Yoshitomi, hot and cold Chad Yoshitomi. I wouldn't be surprised if he does go a bit quicker. Wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. Brent Trosen, Brent's really an oval guy. So I think he's going to be struggling around here. He's at 50.1, but I think that might be his outlap. So we'll see where he ends up. So, majors, coronavirus. Let's broadcast everything. Hey, guys. How are things in Malaysia, John?
It seems to be fairly well under control. We're under pretty heavy lockdown now, and have been for a week. there's still some stupidity going on, but that's true everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's the rate of increase has slowed down. Let's put it that way. Um, there was a very big cluster relating to one religious event, which seems to be true in all around the world as well. And so they're still tracking those guys, but it looks like progress is being made.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
Not to cut you off there, John, but my man Greg just spun out, so he might not be getting into top split. Don't mean to cut you off there, but I think we're still trying to cover the people on the track here as we go. But yeah, it's pretty crazy all around there, John. Like we're even in Canada, like layoffs left, right, and center. Matt and Mike can probably speak to what's going on down in the States, and it seems to be a little bit different state by state.
Yeah, well, Matt and I live in the same state, and we actually have. I think we still have the most deaths of any state in the country, which is
Are you guys in Washington?
yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Crazy. So my
We-
kids are out of school till April 27th. So, I mean, it's just beyond nuts.
Yeah, as of this morning, there was 83 or 87 confirmed deaths and 1,700 confirmed cases. My kids are out of school. Same. All the kids are out of school for 6 weeks here. I'm even out of college. My college is shut down. So I'm actually doing all my college work from home starting April 6th, which is unfortunate because that's my birthday, is when spring quarter starts. So yeah, everything is almost at a standstill here. Almost everybody is out of work. They are trying. The governor is trying to keep from like a total lockdown from like New York, but it still could be possible because people are not following the social distancing ordinance that is in place. So yeah, the states are kind of crazy here. Washington is kind of one of the epicenters for the state, was one of the first confirmed cases. So yeah, we're kind of taking the brunt of everything.
One on track update: Joshua Wolf just turned a 47.3. He's in he's in European Pro, which would have put him way up. He's just trying to better his time. He was a 47.9 before. 47.3 would have been good enough for fourth place if he would have done this on Wednesday.
Yeah, Joshua needed to go again because he was right on the bubble, so he needs to go again. That whole Grizzly TFR team have struggled this week, which is really surprising. So we'll have to see what happens with them.
One of your guys are out there, Gustavo Cianfrini.
Yeah, Gustavo should set good times because he's a front wheel drive expert. He is super good in VW Jetta. So this car will suit him. I don't know how much practice he's been able to do, but if he's done enough practice, he'll be fast.
Well, I hope he's not too fast. No offense, but we've got a race against Gustavo here. Have you guys been doing any? Have you done any standing starts with this car yet?
Yeah.
Because if you haven't, you may want to. It's a handful.
It's interesting.
I think a lot of guys are going to make up some time just on the start, places on the start.
Remember we're in the fortunate position of having the iRacing overall champion in our team, so we get good information. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, fair enough.
The standing starts last night were really good. I mean, there was a lot of positions gained in the early going, but outside of John's misery, there was some incredible early race racing, and honestly throughout the whole race, banging doors and keeping it straight regardless. And yes, the start of the races were intense.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Mark's got
standing
a.
the standing start in the support races were an absolute shambles. Half the field just stood, just sat spinning their wheels. But the both races yesterday, pretty much everyone got off the line pretty well.
So Mark got an update on your guy Greg. It looks like his steering wheel came off the desk, and that's what caused him to spit out, according to chat here.
Greg.
So I'm assuming it's one of your boys, Xanonaut.
Sorry?
Xanonaut here in chat. I'm assuming that's one of your boys.
That would be Zachary.
Oh, that's Zach. Okay.
Yeah, that's too bad. Unfortunate. I guess that's what happens when you work at Boeing, but hey, we'll just rub that in for Greg.
Oh, John, Mike gets that chat ban, right?
No, he didn't. He didn't say anything.
He brought it up.
I would say to just describe some of my incidents yesterday.
Oh, okay. Well, you didn't go into specifications, so I thought it would be worth a shot.
I'll take it.
There you go. That save your voice.
Hand it over. Hey, I just drug Joshua Wolf into the chat. I know he was joining us for the show tonight, and even though he had to turn a qualifying lap. So hey, Josh.
Hey
Hey
guys.
Josh, that was a great lap.
Thank you.
So, Mark here. Where'd you find the time?
A lot of practice. I've been fighting a really bad cough the last couple days, and I ended up going to the doctor on Monday when I ran my time, and that was kind of just thrown in there trying to get one down at the last minute, and yeah, I think it was just a lot of practice. I finally figured out how to drive the track at least. See how it turns out tomorrow.
It is a bit of a handful, isn't it? Like a lot of these corners are very different. Some of them have camber that works with you. You've got that downhill that you have to handle. There's a lot of flat corners that don't have a lot of visual cues to tell you where to turn in. What are you finding is the biggest challenge with this car and maybe this track?
My issue's kind of been more the slow speed corners, and getting a whole bunch of wheel spin coming off. I don't typically drive the front wheel drive as much, so this has definitely been a lot more of a challenge this week, and our whole team has kind of struggled this week.
Yeah, this is definitely a week where drivers learn what the traction circle is on those front tires. When you get on the gas, it doesn't turn, and when you turn, you can't go fast. So it's been challenging for a lot of the guys who are, especially I think a lot of the oval guys who are really used to a rear drive car that when you just hit the gas, it's going to spin around on you, not just plow into a barrier. What do you generally drive, Josh?
I've been doing a lot of road. I got a lot of different cars that I try and drive. I know I'm more typically of a prototype driver than many of the GT cars. Although I just spent, I was in the Neo race at Barcelona today, driving a Porsche. So I've kind of had my hand full this whole week, jumping between different cars, different tracks. So
Well, I can tell just from my own experience, if I never drive another front wheel drive car again, it'll be too soon. But I know guys like Matt and a few others, they're kind of at home with these things. Do you have any words of wisdom for anybody out there that might be struggling with the front?
I'm not quite sure if there's a whole lot. Like I've been working with my team because I've been the fastest guy on the team so far this week, and kind of been hard really to help them out a whole lot without them just kind of watching how I was running my line, watching how what gear I was in or when I'm getting on throttle. It does help to have the car in the, getting into the corner a little bit, stepping out, but you don't want it too much because then you start to lose traction and just slide through the corner instead of actually turn.
Yeah, for sure.
So Josh, I thought that most of the old TFR guys were big BTCC, fans and drivers, and this would have seemed to have been a perfect fit. And what am I missing?
I think probably the Neo race this weekend may have taken away the some of them coming over to run. I know David was kind of back and forth. He was running in that race, so I'm not sure if he ended up turning any laps recently and decided to run or not. But yeah, I think it was just the weekend didn't line up as well for them to end up coming out here and running.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's too bad, because this should have been. I would have expected to have been circled on your guys' calendar as a big one.
It looks like, just going back to the on-track action, looks like Gustavo, he did a 48.0, which is still up there. He's going to be in top split for sportsman for Kinetic. Mike
Yeah,
Kelly
he's
doing a
gonna
48.1.
My quick calculation is he'll be 12th on the grid, so second fastest of the non-top 10.
There we go.
That would have been fast enough to be in the top 10.
Yeah, it would have. I think the bubble for that was, yeah, we're looking at a 48.7, sorry, for the top bottom of the top 10 locked in. So you would have been up there for sure.
You just gave everybody a heart attack, Mark.
I'm just stuttering my way through this whole thing. David Gargaro Jr. from Team Dynasty kind of came out of nowhere. He was good at Rockingham, and he's good this week too. He did pit me for pole. Him and Nathan Medina seem to have kind of come out of nowhere as of the last round. I'm kind of just ripping through Sportsman here, since Matt and I are part of that crew, and America's Sportsman at that. We've got David and myself on the first row, and Daniel Johnson and Joshua Allen. Or is it Alain, John? Allen. So the Kinetic guys have got the second row locked up. We've got Brian Halleck and Nathan Medina on row 3. Zach Brown he's been promoted to Forge Gold this week. He's the inside row 4 with Gerard Gilbert with Kinetic as well. And then Rob and Dan both with Forge at the back. We've got a lot of Forge cars up there. We've got a lot of Kinetic cars up there. And there's the 2 Dynasty cars up there and nobody else. Matt, you should have qualified earlier, my friend.
I am waiting for everybody just to part the seas, and I'm going to drive right through everybody.
That's probably a good strategy.
Yeah. Does anybody want to do a rundown of what's going on in America's Pro?
I don't know that we need to do a rundown, but I will tell you that we saw Rob on track, and he's on the bubble. It honestly, it depends on how it splits and how many guys we end up with. Whether we end up with 50 or 60 qualified drivers in America's Pro will really determine the size of the splits, because I think we're pretty much locked into 2 pro splits, and so we'll kind of go even, whether it's 27 in pro or somewhere north of that number. So guys like Rob are right there on the bubble. And here's sort of some sad news is Wayne, one of our CC members, it looks like he just made a second run, and he was still in the 48s, 48.3. I'm going to say that's probably not going to be enough. And if it is, it's only because we probably went to 60 cars total.
It's an improvement, but it's nowhere close to making it. That seemed like 33rd or something.
Yeah. So again, it won't be enough. I think 30 is about the most we're going to see in Pro 1, based, and probably maybe not even that many. But so that's too bad. He's made just about every pro split known to man forever.
I see you haven't turned any laps there, Mike. What's going on?
Oh yeah, no, not happening.
Wow, not even going to give it a chance.
No.
Yeah, what's really surprising in America's Pro is there's a few people who are, like Wayne, that we would always expect to make the top split, that are really, really struggling. Trevor Clement, who was, where was he last year, Mike? Third overall.
Yeah, something like that.
He is right on the bubble. He's like 22nd, 23rd or something at the moment. Wade Hayes from Kinetic, he's second in the standings at the moment, third in the standings, but high up anyway. He's only 20th on the grid at the moment, so he will make top split, but only just. And it's weird. It's obviously it is a car where some skills come out, and we will. The form book, the normal form book, goes out the window to some degree.
Yeah, I think
Go ahead. Matt.
different skill set. It really is. Like on the sportsman side, sure, we've got the usual suspects in the top 10. But I would say that everywhere else, it's just been completely different, and even I'm struggling. I think usually I'm like pretty comfortable up at top. I'm not comfortable this week. I think Matt's probably in the same boat. Matt did a 48.5. I would expect Matt to be within a tenth of me, and we're all struggling. It's us guys who usually do ovals or rear drive road racing. We're just completely out of our element.
Oh, I'm not out of my element. I'm good. My race setup, our race setup is a lot better than what I qualified, so I'm more confident in my race setup. My race, I was gonna say not my race setup, but my race stature than I am my qualifying stature. So I'll be good. I'm perfectly calm for this round.
Yeah, it's
Well-
interesting your point, John, about the horses for courses thing, and how the normal crew has been turned on its head a little bit, and which we expect. I mean, that's sort of the strength of the series, really, is that that's possible. But you'd really expect it more in like an F1 race or a super high downforce road course race or something like that, and you see that. But honestly, even in those races in our historical past, the top people in the standings typically still make the top split. So this is really fascinating.
Yeah, and I think it's also something, partly the track, because this is a difficult track as well, especially in these cars, because it's got lots of weird corners and bank corners, and it makes the car work very hard. And I think some people have really struggled. I was very good in the Kia in the day, but it took me a long time to get any kind of pace in this car, and too late to put myself into a position where I could do anything in the race. My worry for you, Matt, is your theory of the waves parting. That didn't happen for me in international. That was the race I was going to run, and you just get bogged down in the mire of the midfield in these races, and there's not a lot. Well, the only thing you can do about it is be super aggressive, but if you're I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to be diplomatic here. If you're not the kind of person that is normally super aggressive, it tends to go badly.
For sure.
Well,
Just
not
back
with
to the on track action
go
for
on.
a second. Vincent L'Herbier, Kinetic guy, he was just warming up his tires. He's on his first flyer, the token Canadian for Kinetic. And we've got Diego Jimenez Hornilla is out there in a very basic black Audi, just turned a 48.1. Interested to see where Vincent lands, and Jonathan Medeiros, also of Kinetic. He's out on track right now, bouncing around in the Audi.
Diego runs for Bombshell.
By far not a token Canadian. There are at least 4 Canadians in Kinetic.
Wow. One of the token Canadians. He call him the loony Canadian. Get it? Come on.
Wow.
Trying to make a joke here.
Dad joke. Okay, so the one thing, John, that you kind of brought up, but not in the intentional way you were trying to bring it up, the only thing we haven't talked about is tires. The tires on this car. How, if you can be aggressive with this car, but you could be aggressive, be it too aggressive, and actually and you just kill your tires, so you have no pace at the end of the race.
Yeah, there were certainly people in the international race that just destroyed their tires, and they were really slow towards the end of the race. You know, in the first race, I got spun out of 15th place or something like that, and dropped down to 20th. And I was towards the end of the race, I was going quicker than people up to like 5th or 6th because I looked after my tires well.
Right.
So it is. There is a lot of tire management out. So if you watch the beginning, if you watch the first 5 laps of the races, the guys that are sliding the cars a lot, front and back, they're going to suffer at the end of the race.
Yeah, so you can be aggressive, but you can't be overly aggressive. So if you manage your tires well enough, you can actually make up spots towards the end where the people are struggling that they cooked their tires at the beginning.
Yeah, you know, we ran a couple of cars in the Winter VLN series at Nürburgring, and even there, we were seeing, you know, we were right up at the sharp end of the TCR grid, and even there, amongst the really quick guys, we were seeing guys pulling away from us at 2-3 seconds a lap at the beginning of the stints, but we were catching them by more than that at the end of the stint because we were looking after our tires. So this is it. Tire management is a big deal here, and of course it's slightly more of a factor in the second race with the 3 extra laps.
Right.
I know something I was noticing with the 12 Hours of Sebring last weekend. iRacing came out with that update with more tire wear. And that was something we really noticed there, that if you don't take care of your tires, even in like a GT3 or GTE car, you end up having to take tires on your stints or every stint. So that might be something even coming later in the year here with Le Mans and stuff like that, tire management's really going to be key there.
Yeah, iRacing want to get away from the triple stinting tires on the GT cars. They obviously just don't like it, so they've increased the tire wear. I don't think it's so much of a factor in these cars, but it's driving style. You know, when in the support race at the end, we had 3 or 4 kinetic guys in that, and our tire wear was very different depending on how we driven the race.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like Will last night, John, in the second race, he was holding on to third for dear life forever, and then but when he started to fade, it went fast.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Jeez, Mike. Some people haven't had a chance to watch the broadcast yet, Mike.
Hey, you know, I could be talking about Will Ferrell.
That would be hilarious to get Will Ferrell on an iRacing.
Yeah, actually, it looked worse than it was. Will's tires were still not too bad. It's just he just didn't have the overall pace to challenge those guys. He did a brilliant job at holding them up.
Oh man, he sure did. That was fun to watch.
They were probably a little bit quicker than him anyway. But yeah, he did a really good job, and he wasn't blocking or anything. He was just driving a good line and making it very awkward for them to pass him.
Well, Vincent just threw down a 47.954 on his third lap, so he's got one more to go. See how much he can gain.
He probably needs to find another 10th or 2 to get into the top split in Americas.
Well, we said Rob was possible bubble, so he'd have to be at least Rob.
We've only got 3 in the top split at the moment in Americas because Liam's missing this week. So it'll be good to get Vince in there as well.
Oh, he just completely plowed down there.
Yeah, that's buggered that lap.
I don't know if it looked like he might have got loose and then he tried to catch it.
Are any of the guys that have run this session in Americas?
Rob Dahl, yeah.
Dawson Brock is Europe as well, isn't he?
Yeah, Dawson and myself are both Europe.
Mike Kelly's Europe. Yep.
Who's in second place in the standings on the session? My
Rob
screen
Gall.
is he Americas?
Yes. Yep. He's Dog Bear.
So I think that puts Vince 27th. So depending on how the splits work, he might just make it.
Yeah, I think, what did we say, 26 was our minimum, John? I can't remember.
Yeah, 26 is the target, but it looks like we might have to go 1 or 2 above that in America.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I have a feeling we're going to be mid 50s in terms of total qualifiers, so that should get us above that by a little.
People are struggling. They really are. Jonathan Medeiros, 48.5. Vincent, who I would expect to be quicker, is 47.9.
Yeah, Vince hasn't been able to do that in practice this week.
Stephen Paulison's out on track. For one thing, I will say Steven's car looks friggin' excellent. That Sector 5 car just looks unreal good. I don't know what it is, but I really like it.
Martini-esque. It's really good looking.
Yeah, no, very good looking car. I like how they put the names down on the rocker panel there.
I think those are in part. I know he didn't do the painting, but I think Jimbo may have inspired some of the design. He's a big old school livery guy. He's a golf guy, but this isn't golf-esque, but it's to me it's Martini-esque. Maybe it's just
Kind of a mix in between the two.
Stripes on the hood. Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was gonna say it kind of looks like it might be a mix between the two liveries with a little bit of twist.
Yeah, that car looks sharp.
Yeah, the Sector 5 guys have really, really struggled this week.
Well,
When you think about how well they qualified, last rounds, they're all at the back of the top split at best.
Yeah, what a weird race.
that was the other thing I wanted to touch on real quick was with Trevor coming back, because he basically said I just can't run the series anymore because of work commitments, and which is obviously understandable. But it looks like he found the time and he got back in, and it seems like he corralled the remainder of the Old Alliance team that didn't go to Sector 5. Looks like he corralled the remainder of them and started the Route 66 guys. So it's a shame that they're getting started in round 4, but it's going to be really curious to see how they do going forward.
Okay, I have a quick question. Since Mark brought up weird race, I have a question for you, Mike and John. So, me and some of the guys we were talking the other night, and we were brought up. It's like, hey, it's the majors. We do a little bit of everything, and we're supposed to be like jacks of all trades. So the question is, why haven't we done something with dirt road yet?
I guess I'll take a shot at it and I'll let John answer. So the simplest answer from my perspective is I would love to do a rally race. And notice I didn't say rallycross race.
Right. Yeah. No.
But I would, if we were to do, if they can come up with that, and we could do Pikes Peak or something like that, eventually down the road, I think we would sign up for that immediately. But as is in my mind, there isn't a rallycross race that meets the criteria of special and important. And I say that as we're about to run a WTCR race, which a lot of people might feel the same way. So maybe I'm hypocritical, but I feel like taking off my American hat and putting on my European hat, WTCR or TCR front wheel drive touring car racing is super important in the world of motorsports, and so I think this fits that bill. And I don't know that you can make the same argument for any rallycross race. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, and to add to that, we haven't got, there are some fairly big rallycross events around the world, or they were until both series destroyed themselves. But we haven't got the tracks that are famous yet, anyway.
Okay. What
about core trucks?
I was just gonna bring up, what about the Pro 2 and Pro Tour or the Pro 4s?
Okay, so I mean, I wouldn't have a different answer, to be honest. At least, yeah, based on what we currently have. Although, I mean, again, all that would be super fun. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, same deal there, basically.
I know John has been a big advocate for something like the SCCA runoffs or the Formula Ford Festival, things like that, which to me we could totally do it, but that's like right on the breaking point. That's right on the edge of qualifying in my mind anyway. So I don't know. I may have too stringent a view on some of those things. Qualifying
for what?
To be a race in our series.
Just because it's kind of as part of the base pack, or
no, base pack doesn't matter. We've got races that would be on base content. That's not an issue whatsoever. It's a matter of prestige. So in my mind, a lot of people think of the majors as a series that runs a variety of things, and we do, but it's the model of the series is not variety for variety's sake. The concept of the series is variety within the most prestigious races in the world, right? And so we don't run the same 14 races every year, so we don't try to rank them 1 through 14 and run those. So it's within a range, and where that range stops and ends is very fluid. I'll be the first to admit that. It's something that we make up as we go, to be completely fair. But we do try to adhere to the idea is this important? I mean, there's a lot of people, again, what I just said about taking off my American hat and putting on my European hat, there's a lot of Europeans that would say, well, why in the world would we ever run a dirt oval race? Well, again, if they took off their European hat and they put on their American hat, they would realize that something like the Knoxville Nationals or things like that, or the Dirt Late Model Dream or whatever. The Chili Bowl, great example. Those are things that are important, in terms of racing culture, and they qualify absolutely, unquestioningly, in terms of what we're trying to achieve in the major series. Now, we could run a super fun race at at VIR, a made-up race, and that'd be awesome. But it just doesn't fit into our DNA, in my mind.
One of Matt's teammates is out on track right now, Brian McGreevy. He hasn't posted a time yet. I think he might be just on his out lap, but we'll see where he lands. That UDOX car, you could see that friggin' thing from space and know it's a UDOX car.
Yeah, no, Brian, we had a team practice this morning. Brian was pretty fast in practice, so he decided to wait until later to get his qualifying time in. So yeah, our liveries are a little, they're not the norm, and not to let the cat out of the bag, but something might be coming down the pike that it might be changing. So I'm not letting too much out of the bag. That's just what I'm saying. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Matt Matt's saying there's a new livery coming in to watch out for it.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all.
I actually I really like watching the paints and seeing what teams come up with. Kinetic has their paint that they use every time, and everybody knows what a Kinetic car looks like. UDOX has its look. The purple and aqua color scheme has really set those guys apart. I think for a first-year team, we've done pretty well at setting us apart visually. But I don't know. I love seeing the new cars come out every week and everybody posting them on Discord. Everybody's proud of them. I love it. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that the identity of the teams is really important, and those show up in the liveries. You know, John will probably hate me for saying this, but you know, every round, I feel like we should have a paint contest. But a lot of times the liveries are similar week in and week out in terms of just the base scheme. Obviously, they're on different cars, but the MFR cars, man, they're hard to beat. And we got some great liveries. I mean, you mentioned a bunch of them, but the MFR cars are they're top. They're crazy good.
Oh yeah, they were really
Absolutely.
good this round. That was crazy.
Their paints are always noticeable. Let's put it that way.
I think there
That's
should
for sure.
I think there should be an award for best paint of the year.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. I will tell you that been talking to some folks about the next couple rounds, the All-Star race and the World 600, and you know, just to sort of get the conversation started, or maybe you just let the cat out of the bag a little bit on some of the stuff. So the All-Star race is going to be sort of in John's vision of the World Cup or Governor's Cup type of a race where it's region versus region, and so we're going to look to have each region have a special paint scheme for that region. Every driver that's in the All-Star race will run that paint scheme with some small modifications, like they'll have their country flag and their team logo on it, but for the most part it'll be, you know, red for Americas and green for international and blue for Europe and whatnot. But so that's one thing, which I think is going to be really fun to have two races, one oval, one roval, to determine the best region via the All-Star race. But then for the World 600, speaking of paint schemes, you know, the World 600s typically run on Memorial Day weekend. And even though we're a month early, we're actually running the race on Anzac weekend in Australia and on Anzac Day in the international region. And we're only like 2 weeks before VE Day in Europe, and it's the 75th anniversary. So all that's leading to me to say, you know, we're really going to encourage people to bust out their best patriotic style schemes, and I think we should totally have a scheme of the round award.
We
That
should
would be
just pick
cool.
whatever country won the war.
Oh,
Well, there'd be a dispute about that as well.
I was gonna say we're gonna start wars here. We're gonna start wars within ourselves.
McGreevy's out there. I think that's an awesome idea, by the way. Be fun to have a little competition within the competition. Brian McGreevy's out there. He did a 48.5. He's still trying to better that time. I think he can. We'll see if he can get that purple machine across the line a little quicker.
This is his second run for him, so he's already solidly in the pro split. So I guess he's just seeing if he can't move up a couple spots, but he's locked in.
Yeah,
Is anybody else out on track, or is it just Brian? Yeah,
just Brian. There's only about 4 minutes left, so let's just say in our team practice this morning, everybody learned really fast on how well the start is going to be for everybody. Oh wow, he just jumped up to third on the boards, 47.806.
47.8. Does that push him up the standing?
He needs to do a 47.58 to move up from his current position. He's already got a 47.7.
Yeah.
So I think this was a case of a $3 donation more than anything really important.
Yeah, pretty much. When Brian has his mind set on something, he just goes for it. So.
Just got a few more corners to go here. Let's see if we can get Brian up one more spot. Cheer him on.
He has the talent to do it. I have no doubts in my mind that he will go faster.
Mike Kelly in the chat is saying that looks like he's using his provisional. So if that is the case, and it might be, he might be right. He'll be. John can correct me, but I think he's going to be the first champion to use, former champion to have to use a provisional to get into the top split.
47-143. Brian just ran. He's still got one more to go. So.
Woo!
Yeah, we haven't. None of the champion provisionals have been used so far. Where is Mike in Europe?
Yeah, he's in Europe. He was the Atlantic region champion in 18, but obviously that carries forward. So
yeah, he's definitely going to have to use his provisional because we're in that awkward position in Europe where we're too small for 2 splits, but too big for 1 split. So we're going to have to probably cap it at 26, I guess, and put the rest somewhere else.
yeah, I want to say there was like 20-ish right on the nose as far as the sportsmen were concerned. So there's room for a couple more anyway, or a few more. It may
Well,
the pro.
24 in sportsmen already.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
After the last qualifying session, so it's going to be really awkward.
What's that now? Sorry.
In Europe, we might have to do it like, I don't know, 2017 or something.
Or you could just add the Europeans to the American split and we'll show them who's boss.
Oh, Brian said that was enough. He said the 47-1 was good enough for him, so he wasn't going to finish his 4th lap, that puts him 11th as of right now.
Yeah, that's a really good lap. You know, it's only the ridiculous aliens got into the 46s, but everyone in the 47s has done a pretty good job.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, with only about 5 seconds left, anybody else, you got anything, final words real quick?
I'm going to pump myself up a little bit. Sorry, John. I practiced for 2 days. I got 2nd in the sportsman split. I'm pretty happy with myself. On to somebody else. I'm totally just, I can't believe I pulled that out of the bag. So I'm pretty happy, and I'm looking forward to racing with Matt.
Yeah.
Good luck to everyone in the races. It should be a lot of fun to watch. I think the international races, the broadcasts were really good. So hopefully we'll have the same in Europe and Americas.
Yep, I think we will. I'm excited for it. So, yep, good luck all. Appreciate it. Thanks for hosting, Matt.
Oh, not a problem.
Yeah, thanks for sitting in, Matt.
It's always fun. And yeah, Mark, you better be watching for that purple car in your mirror for a little while.
How many pixels do you want? 1 or 2 in my rearview mirror?
Oh, it'll be the whole entire mirror for at least for a few seconds as I'm driving by you.
We'll see you out there.
All right. Thanks, Mark, for stopping by. Thanks, Joseph. Thanks, Joseph, for stopping by, and Mike and John always. And that's it for the show. Hopefully, I think Wade will be back next race. We'll see. So thanks everybody for calling, and make sure you guys watch the broadcast, and we'll see everybody later. Bye-bye.